you just said that, less supply raises prices. It's not in our strategic interest to reduce the supply. Yeah. We also know, the president as recently as yesterday talked about increasing domestic manufacturing to bring down prices on inflated items like goods. So why not apply the same logic to energy and increase domestic production here?
Well, there are 9,000 approved oil leases that the oil companies are not tapping into currently, so I would ask them that question.
Is there nothing that the administration can do to get those providers back to pre-pandemic levels?
Do you think the oil companies don't have enough money to drill on the places that have been pre-approved?
Just asking.
I would point that question to them, and we can talk about it more tomorrow when you learn more.
Do you think that opening the Keystone pipeline and having more energy-friendly policies might do that?
The Keystone pipeline has never been operational. It would take years for that to have any impact. I know a number of members of Congress have suggested that, but that is a proposed solution that has no relationship or would have no impact on what the problem is. We here all agree is an issue.
So during those years where it would take to bring down prices, as you're saying, we should just continue to buy Russian oil?
Well, again, Jackie, I think you're familiar with a number of steps we've taken, a historic release from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Let me finish. What we can do over time, and what this is all a reminder of in the president's view, is our need to reduce our reliance on oil. The Europeans need to do that. We need to do that. If we do more to invest in clean energy, more to invest in other sources of energy, that's exactly what we can do to prevent this from happening in the future. We welcome any Republicans from joining us in that effort. Go ahead.
As long as we're buying Russian oil, though, aren't we financing the war?
Well, Jackie, again, it's only about 10% of what we're importing. I've not made any announcement about any decision on that front, but our objective here and our focus is making...
You can go back and look at the record. We're the ones who advocated otherwise. Here's the deal. This administration has stopped offshore production, prevented new lease sales, prevented onshore production. This majority has tried to impose a $10,000 per year, per mile pipeline fee, tried to raise royalty fees, increase severance taxes on energy, on domestic energy.
What should they be doing practically at this moment, considering the price of gas is going to affect them?
Of course it is, as I've been saying, and that's why we've been focused on it for weeks, if not months, to ensure we are taking every step, the president is taking every step to reduce that impact. The release of his Strategic Petroleum Reserve, 30 million barrels that he announced, but we would say directly to consumers, the president is going to do everything we can to reduce the impact, to make sure that we are working with our partners around the world to address the volatility in the global oil markets, to consider a range of options that he can continue to take to reduce the impact that they're feeling at the pump. And this has been front and center on his mind since the
30 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which wouldn't fuel our country for even 2 days.
Back to the President's State of the Union speech. On Tuesday, he said that he wants to secure our border and fix the immigration system. That's a bit of a shift from last year's speech to Congress, where he spoke more about trying to find the root causes of why people are migrating. Why was there this sort of shift in messaging, kind of focusing on securing the border, and is that a new priority, or have priorities changed on immigration for the administration?
No, I would say first the bill that the president proposed on his first day in office included smarter security and border protections, and also included a more humane path for migrants entering the country. Both of those remain priorities for the president. He believes that the immigration system is broken. It's long overdue to fix it. He also believes, and worked on this very closely as vice president, that addressing the root causes is one of the central steps we need to remain focused on, even as we're trying to address the current circumstances at the border.
Is going to not benefit from oil, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I think I do know what you're trying to say. And I know you've heard me say this a few times before, but we don't have a strategic interest in reducing the global supply of energy. And that would raise prices at the gas pump for the American people around the world, because it would reduce the supply available. And it's as simple as less supply raises prices. Shutting down Nord Stream 2 or preventing Nord Stream 2 from operating. That's why we're surging LNG to Europe to help accelerate its diversification from Russian gas. And I think you've also seen European leaders talk about the need to reduce their reliance and to diversify. And we are continuing to look at other options we could take right now to cut U.S. consumption.
The management's proposal, Build Back Better, the management says is dead. Is the transformation formalized here? Is it no longer Build Back Better, now Building a Better America?
That is formal. But no one cares about the name in the American public. They care about what's in it and what it's going to do.
What is the White House looking at? I know that there was the strategic release of oil, but are there other things that the White House is looking at to help consumers at the pump? Maybe to, direct subsidies, maybe more biofuels, maybe easing the Jones Act. Oh, look, what is the plan for Americans who are going to have to be living with these high oil prices?
Well, I would say first on the release of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, but a range of options remain on the table. I can't get into all the details of those, but the president is quite focused on making sure that we are taking steps to reduce the impact, to ensure there's supply necessary out there. Calling out some especially beautiful faces in the room. Yes, handsome devils. Okay. Also wanted to note, it is Aisha Roscoe's last day in the briefing room seat before, yes. Thank you for all of your work. And she's going on, you've already announced this. I feel like I'm announcing news, but it's been announced, to host Weekend Edition for NPR as an NPR listener. I look forward to being in my sweatpants and coffee and listening to you this weekend. So congratulations and thank you for